Hey, what's up? Welcome back to my kitchen. I'm Ken, and today I'm gonna make a lasagna. A nice traditional lasagna with a twist. The twist being, I'm gonna do a few shortcuts and I'm gonna show you how to do them very quickly, easily, and with a few less steps, but yet the flavor is gonna be totally there. And when it comes to lasagna, let's face it, 60 million Italians can't be wrong. So with this, to start off, I'm using my food processor, which is super fast and it's gonna make everything kind of speed along. And who wants to sit there and chop and grate and all that? And I'm gonna use this to chop up my veggies, like my onion, as well as my cheese. I'm gonna use this to grate my cheese as well. Step 2, I'm gonna use a chunky tomato sauce with diced tomatoes as opposed to crushed tomatoes. And third, and one of the most important, is I'm going to use a no-boil lasagna noodle. This basically, since I've tried it, I am like hooked. It is unbelievably easy. You basically put these into your pan, and from there they bake off in the sauce and they get all their moisture from the sauce, and they're absolutely fantastic. So that's what's gonna happen with this recipe here. So to get our recipe started, I'm just gonna get this going and brown off our ground beef. For this, I'm using 1 pound of ground beef, and I'm just gonna start with a little Greek extra virgin olive oil. Basically, this recipe, really the only thing that's Greek is the olive oil and the guy that's showing you how to make it. Other than that, it's an Italian dish and it's one of my favorites. And you can make this for a whole bunch of people on the cheap, and it's absolutely fantastic. So basically, our lean ground beef goes in, and what I like to do as well is I like to break it up with my fingers beforehand. Just a thing I have, just makes it easier when you're browning it off, rather than having just one block of beef in your pan. The next part of this is to actually get our veggies ready and prep them for our sauce. So with my food processor, what I've done is I've pre-chopped 1 onion. That's gonna go in there. The kicker to this that I like to use as well is red pepper. So some sweet red bell pepper goes in. And 2 tablespoons of minced garlic go in, or you can use 2 cloves chopped, whatever works for you is totally cool. I like to add my seasonings at this point, so I'm gonna add about a teaspoon of dried Greek oregano. Some salt is gonna go in. In any of my recipes, I don't tell you how much salt to put in because it's a matter of taste and preference, but you can usually do it to whatever it is you like. Oh, and by the way, that beeping you may have heard in the background is my oven preheating. And for this, it's 375 degrees Fahrenheit or about 180 degrees Celsius. As well, I like to throw in some fresh cracked black pepper. At this stage here, because I'm serving this to young kids, they're not really into spice or anything really that hot. You may want to add some chili flakes in here, chili peppers. Jalapeno works absolutely fantastic with this as well. I've tried it with that, and basically that'll give you a little bit of heat. Perfect. All that took was like 15 or 20 seconds, and our veggies are all nice and chopped up, minced up, and ready to be added to our ground beef that's already well on its way to browning. So now just add our chopped veggies right into our sauce mix and give those a real quick stir and let those saute down for about 4 or 5 minutes. So as our sauce is working, the next part of this, and it's part of our flavor profile, is these 2 lovely gems right here. These are my basil flavor bombs. I'll include a link in the description below on how you make these, and basically these are just condensed chopped up basil from my garden last year, and I just put them in and add them to the flavor. The next thing to go in is our crushed tomato or tomato puree, and for that usually a couple of tablespoons will do it. Lately I've been into this bottled or squeezed bottle stuff, I find it fantastic. It's very convenient and it doesn't go bad. Once it's open, pop it in your fridge and you're good to go, and it'll last for days and days. So our sauce is working away nice now. Let's get things rolling with our cheese. And for this, I'm not gonna kid you, you're gonna use some cheese here. For my lasagnas, I like to use at least 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds of mozzarella. Start chopping them up. All right, so now our cheese is done. I absolutely love my food processor. It makes things so much easier. No fuss, no muss, and who wants to sit there and do this for like 15, 20 minutes? Not I. So, cheese is ready to go. Now, going back to our sauce, the bottom of the pan is actually crusting over with brown bits of caramelization, and that's flavor. The next thing to go in is 28 ounces of our diced tomatoes. So that's gonna go in there just like that, along with the equivalent of about 28 ounces of water. Now that our water's been added in, our sauce is gonna be a little bit on the runnier side or the looser side, and that's totally fine. What you wanna do is keep it at that consistency, only because we're using the no-bake noodles and you want that extra moisture to get absorbed in the noodle and help cook it in. So our sauce is working nicely now. The next part of this that adds to a little bit of that authenticity or that Italian flavor is Parmesan cheese. And for this, I add about 1/4 cup to 1/3 of a cup of Parmesan cheese right into the sauce. Okay, so for this, I'm using a tried and true friend of mine, 12 by 17 pan. Very easy, nothing to this at all. Place your pan here. The trick to this as well, because we're using a no boil noodle, actually let me turn this off. Our sauce is ready. It's thickened up just enough to the consistency that we want. The trick to this is start off with a few or a couple of ladlefuls of the sauce in the bottom of the pan, and that'll help get the bottom noodle cooked, but also it'll help it from sticking as well. Doesn't have to be anything tremendous, just something like that will work well. Next, our no-bake noodles. I found if you use a 12 by 17 pan, you just layer these puppies just like that, and you'll actually get a perfect 5 across pattern, plus a couple of more the other way along the opposite direction. And again, for this, actually let me slide this a little closer. I'm gonna add some sauce to this, just like that. And if you notice, our sauce is nice and chunky and it's got a little bit of body to it, and that's basically what we want. So this will go in there just like that, all nice and happy. Make sure the noodle gets covered. My favorite part as well, let me just take this off, is the mozzarella. And I like to go generous with the mozz. I think it's one of the things that makes lasagna. So this will go in just like that. That's perfect there. A sprinkling of Parmesan just for that extra bit of tanginess. That's good there. And continue on with our noodles. And the way I do it as well, since I've started my noodles this way, I'm gonna move them now this side, moving the opposite pattern, just placing them down. And that's why I love these no-bake noodles, because basically, boom, you set them down, you put them down, and they're done. Again, generous with our sauce. For this, I double up the layers on this side before I add any cheese, and you'll see where I'm gonna go with this right now. Now what the hell is that? An extra one. An extra layer there. Another Good layer of cheese goes on here. And one thing I add to my recipes is cottage cheese. I'll tell you, it is not one of my favorite cheeses, but it adds a certain body or a texture to this, because in this recipe, it will actually take on the flavor of the cheeses in the sauce, which is what we want. Again, not one of my favorites, but it's good to use. And if you see me ever sitting anywhere eating, cottage cheese, it's a cry for help. That's not me. So this goes on, just dollop it on throughout the lasagna. Let me just throw in some Parmesan cheese here. And our last layer of noodles will go in or on. Now we're going to take our sauce and put it over all our noodles. And let's just not mess around with this. Just pour this over just like that. And our last little bit of parm goes on here. And this is ready to go. So for this, I'm gonna bake this uncovered in a 375-degree oven for about 45 minutes to an hour. And our ultimate goal is for the cheese on top to be gooey and bubbly and blistered. What can I tell you? I have no words. It is done to absolute perfection. This, my dear friends, will make a grown man cry for his mama. That's how good this smells. It just came out of the oven. It baked for about 45 minutes. As you can tell, it is absolutely perfect. I'm not even gonna dare or attempt to cut into this now. I need this to sit for about 20 minutes to half an hour, at least, to get everything kind of coagulating again and kind of getting everything to tighten up. This is exactly what I'm talking about right here. This is it. The brown bits all around, the blistering, the cheese is completely melted away. It's absolutely perfect. That's all I can tell you. I have no other words. And all in the span of this video, if I can do it, you can do it. And that's the key here. It's all about organization, getting your ingredients out. It doesn't matter the number of ingredients or how much or how the amount or whatever. It's all about getting yourself organized. So, having said all that, I am more than proud to serve this to my guests. You should be too if you make this. Super easy, no boil, lasagna noodles, very, very key. Save a whole step. Who wants to bullshit around with pots and boiling pasta and all that when you don't have to, especially with this lasagna. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed watching this. I know I'm gonna have a blast eating this. Until next time, hit the like button, subscribe, share this video with your friends, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And until my next video, thanks for watching. Bye for now.